yesterday was Friday the 13th, and it just seemed like, today was a long day. We ran through, how do you say that mountain? Cayuga Mountain?
Cuyamaca.
Now I know every one of you have driven down that, up and down that mountain, right? Well, can you imagine doing it at 5 miles an hour? Right?
And 2 RVs.
And 2 RVs in a chase vehicle and trying to stay off the road, right? So that nobody...
Are we running that fast?
You're running that fast. You mean that slow? And so, how many? We had 7 runners today that ran those miles through those mountains. So that was just, crazy. So, again, getting back to, to landing here at the end of the day, and having a place that we're warmly embraced, means a heck of a lot to us, believe me. And to be able to just, get a drink at the bar and, chat up with you guys here and just relax for a little while is just, tremendous. So I just can't thank you enough.
Accommodation.
And, right. And we had already planned to pay for hotel rooms tonight, which is very hard for us. And Oki pulled strings, and we're able to stay at the YMCA up the road for no cost. So that was a huge help. That probably saved us close to $1,000 just today. And we need it, believe me, for the next time. So there's not enough words of thanks. I hope that one day we come through here again, maybe not as a run, but as individuals, and we come in here and come in and buy a drink and remember a time when we honored 123 heroes tonight at this post, throughout this day, April 14th. So what are we doing here, right? Some of you may know, some of you may not know. We have a vision to our organization, the Honor and Remember organization, has a vision. This is our 10th anniversary, actually. And that is to make sure that no service member is forgotten. No service member in the history of our country is forgotten. Not just Iraq and Afghanistan, but every service member who gave their life for the freedoms that we enjoy. And so, how do you do that, right? Well, we have a symbol, we have a flag that we created, the Honor and Remember flag. Some of you may know it, may not know it. But it's a national symbol, much like the POW-MIA flag was created back in 1971. That's generations ago, a couple of generations. And so we created a flag called the Honor and Remember flag that is meant to be a national symbol of remembrance. A reminder of the lives that it cost. But not just those lives, because those men and women aren't here with us, right? We can't touch them and feel them and hug them, right? But their families are. And what we need to be reminded of is that every one of these individuals who gave their life had a family unit and an extended family unit. And they're the ones that will be grieving for the rest of their lives. And we need to make sure that they're not forgotten. And so how do we do that? So on our 10th anniversary, we decided that we were going to run across the country. And we were going to accumulate every name of every fallen service member in the last 18 years that would have happened during the War on Terror. When is the War on Terror? There's a lot of debate about what the dates are on that. But we chose a date that the DOD kind of coincides with, and that was
October.
My mind is like flipping to so many things. We started in April and we're ending in August, but we started with October 12th, 2000. That was the USS Cole. That was our very first mile. And so we accumulated now from the USS Cole to present day 20,000 service members who gave their lives. Now you can look on the websites and say, well, Iraq and Afghanistan, they're maybe getting close to 7,000. Those are battle casualties. So whenever you see those numbers, those are usually in theater casualties. They happened on the ground. But there are many, many, many more deaths that are beyond just those that died in theater. I was going to talk about that now, but okay, I'll just put it right up here. What we've accumulated in these 20,000 names is every service member who died while serving. It doesn't matter what happened to them. If they died while they were serving, then we're honoring them. And those that died as a result of serving. So if somebody was wounded, they came home, they got out of the service, they died 5 years later from their wounds, they would be honored on this run. If they came home and they got out of the service and the wounds of being a service member, those hidden wounds, emotional wounds, and they took their own life, they're honored on this run. So it's all those who died while serving or as a result of serving. So if anybody says, where the heck did they get those 20,000 names? It's because we are in the business of honoring. That's what we do. That's all we want to do. We want to make sure that every family in America who has lost a loved one realizes that we will never forget. Right? Because the last one who calls your name out loud dies. It's when you're truly forgotten. Right? And so, Paulette showed me this, brought this up to me, but I was going to talk about this later, but since I'm talking about the names, if you look up close, this is a poster, it has our logo on it, it's nice and blue, it looks pretty. But if you look close, every single one of those 20,000 names is on this poster. Every single one of them in alphabetical order. So if you knew someone who died from October 12, 2000 to present day, actually, that we had to cut off, because we had to print the poster. It's through the end of last year, December 31st, 2017. From October 12th to December 31st, 2017, every name is on this poster. This is a phenomenal piece right here. I mean, so come up and look at it. If you have really good eyes, you'll be able to find things. But the best thing to do is take your phone, because everyone's got like a magnifying glass on their phone, and you can just like scan it and find names. This is phenomenal. We have those here if you want one. So we had took those names, all 20,000 of them, and we identified every date of death. Right? So October 12, 2000, October 13th, 2000, and so on. Everyone who, we didn't take every day of the month and every year. We only identified the day and the date that there was a casualty. So it could have been, there was one October 13th, but the next one could have been November 1st or November 5th, it doesn't matter. And then we lined it all these dates of death up across the, this is the most phenomenal thing, guys, that you'll ever hear anybody has ever done. We've lined them up across 19 states and came up with about, at that point when we did this 2 years ago, it was about 5,000 miles. 5,000 unique dates of death, right? Now we're almost up to 6,000, right? That's how many more casualties we've had. And we will continue to add names to the end of the run until we have named everyone who has died up until the day we arrive in Arlington Cemetery. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Absolutely. Every single name in contemporary society up until the day we finish. All right? So what we've been doing now, this is 120 days worth of running. So this is only our 8th, we just finished our 8th day. And I can't tell you how many accumulative we run for up until today, and I need to have those numbers. But yesterday we ran for 101 heroes. Today we ran for 123 heroes. I'll give you the idea. It just depends on the number of miles also. We ran 41 miles yesterday, 34 miles today.
Tomorrow it's 160 fallen, 51 stops.
So tomorrow we're running 51 miles for 160 heroes. So you got to get the picture of how we're doing this. You can go to our website and put in a date of death, just a date of death. Take a random date of death from that point to now, or really till now, till today, and a map will come up, a name and a map will come up if there was somebody who died on that date, and it'll show you where in the country we're going to honor that person. So if you knew someone, you could go to the website and find that hero. and know right where we're going to honor them. Pretty darn close. Or if you know somebody's name, you can put them in and find them. But if you put in a date of death, it will tell you everybody who died on that date of death. Right? They're all honored on that same mile. Remember I said we're doing dates of death. So you could find out all those that died. We did 9/11 yesterday. 2 days ago? Sheesh. 2 days ago was our 9/11 day.
Yeah, it was in
And
San Diego.
that mile had 57 fallen that day. And we stopped and honored every single one of them on that mile. Right in the middle of the highway, right in the middle of Temecula, I think it was.
San Diego.
San Diego. So the days are running together. There's San Diego. That's right, because our Ender Day was at the museum there. And so this is what we're doing. I just want to paint this really graphic picture for you, because you can go to the website and see all of this unfolding. And not only that, but there's a link that there's a live feed. So as long as we have a signal, and signal dropped a little bit today in the mountains, but as long as we have a signal, you can watch us and hear us honoring every single one of those heroes 1 mile at a time. There's never been any kind of a organized fallen veteran tribute like this ever that I've ever heard of. It is phenomenal. And to be here and share this with you, it just means the world. It really does. It means the world. Because what are we doing? We're going from town to town and we don't know anybody. Right? We don't know anybody. We just hope that somebody out there realizes that we're doing something historic and probably will never do it again. And for you guys to say that you were a part of us traveling through here is going to be something that's going to stay with you forever. Because it's not happening again. You know the organizational structure it took to put all this together. Town after town after town. Lunches and volunteers to put out markers and runners, and it just goes on and on and on. Police protection, permits. We're going through hundreds of jurisdictions, hundreds. And everything it takes to put it together. And so we thought it was important enough to make it happen. And everybody who's volunteered to be here and to put their bodies on the line and their time on the line. Some of us are donating 5 months out of our lives to be here every day. Gold Star, a couple of you met, right? Every day for 5 months. Right? And so I just want to really emphasize this to you guys, how important this is. You have never seen anything like this before. You may never see anything like this again. And you are now a part of our family. And I can't say it any plainer than that. And we're proud to be here and honored to be here. And so part of what we do in the evening, okay, is not just me, releasing hot air. I mean, we're here to fellowship, and then we're here to reverently kind of recreate our day for you, because you didn't get to hear those names. You weren't with us mile after mile. And so what we do as part of our ceremony in the evening is we read the names again that we ran for. It's hard, it's tough. But we're going to read the names that we ran for every single mile. This came to me the other day, and I'm going to say it every night, and everybody can be really bored with it. But to me, it's impactful. This may be the last time some of these names ever get read. Right? This may be the last time, because families may have passed away. Who knows what the circumstances may be. It's really tough when there's a loss, I'll tell you, because a lot of people just want to go on with their lives, and if it doesn't affect them directly, then it's like, okay, well, death is a very painful thing. So we're more interested in helping the wounded and helping the veterans, and that's great, we should be, but there's a population out there that need to be remembered, because that's why we're here, isn't it? Because of those who gave their lives. And so our tradition is for our runners, who actually read them mile after mile, to read the names again. And while we do that, we'll just reverently think about each one of these names. Each one of them had a family. Each one of them had friends and loved ones that cared about them. You may not know them, but I will tell you, if a name is read, who you do recognize, that's the one that'll ping you, won't it? You'll go, oh, I knew that guy, or that, that woman. And so it's important that we all hear. What you're doing is hearing these names for the families, right? You're standing in right now for the families who aren't here to hear their loved ones' names and may not have been on the road to hear those loved ones' names. And so it's very important to us that we do that with you, because we've all heard them once, but you haven't. And so we're going to go through this part of the ceremony. We have 101 names that we ran for today. And then what I'd like you to do as you're hearing these names is, if there's someone that you know that was lost, maybe you served and you lost a buddy, it doesn't matter what generation. Okay, forget October 12, 2000. It could be any generation, Vietnam, Korea, World War II. It could be your grandfather. It doesn't matter to us who it may be. If you think of someone whose name should be heard out loud, I will give you an opportunity to say that name after we read those that we ran for today. Okay, so I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, but I just want to give you an opportunity to call a name out loud that you may know or may be meaningful to you. Okay, everybody got that? And that includes, Commander, that include Mike, if you want to read those two names, I'll give you that, have that opportunity. I know Eddie here, he dressed in dress blues to read a name of a buddy that he has. So Eddie's going to read his friend. And are there any questions? I just threw that one out there. No? We'll have our runners to come up, please.
Private Dean Gary Damatia, United States Marine Corps. Private First Class Mace Becerra, United States Army. Airman First Class Stacy Loyal Austin, United States Air Force. Specialist Richard Gerard Nadal, United States Army. Sergeant Juan Romero III, United States Army. Lieutenant John Edward Russell, United States Navy. Corporal Bean Thaw, United States Marine Corps. Private E2 Michael Koshaway Pendleton, United States Army. Private E2 Cheryl Watchman, United States Army. Master Sergeant Bruce Robert Anderson, United States Air Force. Specialist Jason Dean Weber, United States Army. Petty Officer Second Class DeCabra Ruben Matias Rodriguez, United States Navy. Staff Sergeant Ronald Earl Davis, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Jeffrey David Petty, United States Army. Airman Stephen Michael Hall, United States Navy. Airman Benjamin Joseph Garner. Airman Recruit Benjamin Joseph Garner, United States Navy. Master Sergeant Robert Gustav Persky, United States Army. Sergeant Trent L. Bethel, United States Army.
Staff Sergeant Terry Von Gary Kinsey, United States Army. Corporal Sean David Walters, United States Marine Corps. Petty Officer 3rd Class Dustin Coy Wadsworth, United States Navy. Airman 1st Class Charles Frank Askew Jr., United States Air Force. Staff Sergeant John Tucker Vincent, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Zerius Orlando Woods, United States Army. Petty Officer 1st Class Vincent E. Parker, United States Navy. Petty Officer 3rd Class Benjamin Allen Johnson, United States Navy. Sergeant Jeremy Einard McKella, United States Army. Chief Warrant Officer 3 Thomas Delbert Lunn, United States Army. Specialist Otha James Patrick Jr., United States Army. Specialist Juan Cruz Martinez, United States Army. Sergeant Alex Joseph Cox, United States Army. Private 1st Class Zachary Andrew Castanola, United States Army. Private 1st Class Enrique Hermosillo Ariano III, United States Army. Airman 1st Class Jeremiah Ole Koykindle, United States Air Force. Chief Petty Officer Norman Douglas Manley, United States Navy. Private Nathan Ray Kirkman, United States Marine Corps. Private 1st Class Joseph Anthony Rostick, United States Army. Specialist Jason Edward Winter, United States Army. Specialist Benjamin Paul Cessna, United States Army.
Specialist Ayana Villamo Bafoglio, United States Army. Petty Officer 3rd Class Brandon Lee Hendricks, United States Navy. Cadet 3rd Class Patrick William Hucks, United States Air Force. Private 1st Class Aaron Christopher Taylor, United States Army. Major John Urban Segrist, United States Air Force. Captain Jennifer Lynn Gardine, United States Air Force. Captain Glennon Lambert Sieve, United States Navy. Petty Officer 2nd Class Randy Glenn Whitaker, United States Navy. Staff Sergeant Michael Termaine Mosley, United States Army. Petty Officer 2nd Class Mark Francis Gunther, United States Navy. Staff Sergeant Stephen Mitchell Stout, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Glenn Casey Rackus, United States Army. Major John Patrick Shenahan, United States Army. Petty Officer 3rd Class Joseph Daniel Common Bertescu, United States Navy. Petty Officer 3rd Class Deanna Denise Kendrick, United States Navy. Command Sergeant Major Vernon Oriel Cummings, United States Army. Airman 1st Class Jennifer Dawn France, United States Air Force. Petty Officer 2nd Class Edward Dwayne Irwin, United States Navy. Sergeant Joseph Robert Paciencia, Jr., United States Army. Chief Petty Officer Wilbert LaRue Evans, United States Navy. Lieutenant Colonel Pietro Raffa, United States Air Force. Sergeant Celia Amido Mapu, United States Army.
Sergeant Tater Mikkel Reynolds, United States Army. Private E2 Cameron James Kirby, United States Army. Fireman Apprentice Michael Jamel Jakes Jr., United States Navy. Staff Sergeant Brian Cody Prosser, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Daniel Henry Petithori, United States Army. Master Sergeant Jefferson Donald Davis, United States Army. Private First Class Eduardo Jose Valencia Hueco, Jr., United States Army. Staff Sergeant Tommy Lynn Northcott, United States Army. Seaman Apprentice Nicholas Anthony Cox, United States Navy. Sergeant Stephen Todd Walker, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Shannon Don Jorgensen, United States Army. Petty Officer 3rd Class Jason Clifton Lewis, United States Navy. Sergeant First Class Roger Paul Ashton Jr., United States Army.
Staff Sergeant Douglas Lee Eccleston, United States Air Force. Staff Sergeant Derek Eugene Toyer, United States Army. Specialist Stephen Dale Nash, United States Army. Private E2 David Domingo Carrillo, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Darrell Anthony Mitchell, United States Army. Specialist Patrick Alexander Dodson, United States Army. Sergeant Darian Evan Dolan, United States Marine Corps. Petty Officer 2 Jerome Allen Mosher, United States Navy. Colonel Patricia Ann DeMeglio, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Javier Rodriguez Ramirez, United States Army. Specialist Joseph Anthony Centua Jr., United States Army. Senior Airman John Allen Law, United States Air Force. Private E2 Nolan Anatone Barkley Jr., United States Army. Corporal Robert Michael Aveni, United States Army. Petty Officer 1 Douglas Keith Lanning, United States Navy. Senior Airman, United States Air Force. Senior Airman Jason Ellen Riperda, United States Air Force. Private First Class Emmett Uriah Allen, United States Army. Petty Officer 1 Rossi Grant Sims, United States Navy. Staff Sergeant Cyril Maurice Martin, United States Army. Private First Class Shane McGregor Kearns, United States Marine Corps. Private Second Class Jeremy Wade Wagner, United States Army. Petty Officer 2 Michael Anthony Manella, United States Navy. Petty Officer 3 Scott Philip Belonsky, United States Navy. Sergeant First Class Tamika Atanya Kimball, United States Army.
Lance Corporal Sean Martin Auger, United States Marine Corps. Airman Basic Garfield I. Royal, United States Air Force. Petty Officer Second Class Jason Laramie Scott, United States Navy. Chief Petty Officer John Clay Otwell, United States Navy. Captain Richard Spencer Kramer, United States Navy. Lance Corporal Lorenzo Gene Stewart, United States Marine Corps. Senior Chief Petty Officer Kim Scarenbrock Mendoza, United States Navy. Specialist Chad David Heldreth, United States Army. Petty Officer Second Class Sheriff Rosharov Jr., United States Navy.
Airman Carlos Leaf Fuhrer, United States Navy. Private First Class Nathaniel Uri Granados, United States Marine Corps. Private Justin Michael Haas, United States Marine Corps. Petty Officer Third Class Robert Lee Mills III, United States Navy. Senior Airman Paul Patrick Precinct, United States Air Force. Staff Sergeant Carlos Jose Vasquez, United States Army. Airman Anthony Joseph Seward, United States Air Force.
Private E2 Dwayne Thomas Holmes, United States Army. Corporal Casey Eugene Kibble, United States Marine Corps. Specialist Matthew Levi Laraski, United States Army. Cadet Third Class Matthew Austin Knight, United States Air Force. Private First Class David Mark Boguski Jr., United States Army. Ensign Kelly Marie Haney, United States Navy. Corporal Bear Isaac Miller, United States Marine Corps. Major Catherine Locke Field, United States Air Force.
Go ahead, Eddie.
I've been given the opportunity and the honor and privilege of reading the names of some fallen soldiers that are going to be recognized later in this relay in New Mexico that unfortunately I cannot go to. Both of their miles are in New Mexico. You can look them up on Run for the Fallen if you'd like. But I'll just read these for you. Sergeant Kenneth Levi Ridgely, 30, served as the unit armorer for A Company, 3rd of the 21st Infantry Gimlets, 1st Stryker Brigade, Fort Lewis, Washington, and I was his section sergeant and company supply NCO during the year 2002. He always had a positive and happy demeanor, and he was constantly resourcing methods of streamlining arms room operations to make the arms room operation the most fluid possible. Originally from Olney, Illinois, Sergeant Ridgely was a blacksmith and a wrangler in Colorado prior to joining the United States Army. He had a passion for horses and he loved country and western music. Less than 8 months before being killed in action, shot under his body armor while manning the traffic point in Mosul, Iraq, March 30th, 2005. He married Charity and was in the process of adopting her 3-year-old son, Dylan. Staff Sergeant Julian S. Milo was a supply sergeant for Headquarters and Headquarters Company, 1st of the 5th Infantry Battalion, 1st Infantry Brigade, 25th Infantry Division. He died December 21st, 2004 in Mosul, Iraq as a result of a suicide bombing, the largest U.S. loss of life at that juncture of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He died alongside 14 other U.S. service members, 4 U.S. civilians, and 3 Iraqi soldiers. Julian gave up his commission as a captain in the Panamanian Army to escape the rule of dictator Manuel Noriega and immigrated to the United States to become an enlisted soldier in the U.S. Army. He later married Norma, and together they had a son, Joshua. Just prior to being assigned to 1st and 5th Infantry, Julian survived prostate cancer. According to his wife, he loved New York City, the city through which he immigrated. He enjoyed visiting the Statue of Liberty, and he visited it every chance he got. Understanding that Julian was a first language Spanish speaker, and my Spanish was murky at best, I asked Julian to help me translate important documents over the phone to effect securing the correct documentation for Oregon Senator Gordon Smith's office for my then Honduran wife and 1-year-old daughter's visa. Standard processing was 3 years, and we ultimately achieved that in less than 1. Julian insisted on not only translating for me and us prior to talking to his own family. He requested relocating phone centers to continue calls when originating centers were closed by mortar attacks. Excuse me, I know this by heart, but it just helps me to read. It's just who he was. He had an infectious smile and a beautiful laugh, and I miss him dearly. His memory lives on in the name of my son, Julian Lyman Hahn, and there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of him.
Thank you, Eddie. Is there anyone else that would like to call out loud the name of someone, as I mentioned? Give you the opportunity. Anyone in the back at all who knows? Yes, sir, out loud.
PFC William Dorsey, Vietnam, 1968. Lieutenant Jonathan Young, Vietnam. Specialist Bobby McLean, one badass son of a bitch from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Thank you.
Jason K. Edens out of Tennessee. Died April 9th, 2012 from injuries sustained from an ambush.
Corporal Derek W. Jones, Salem, Washington, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Marines. Private Eduardo Lopez, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Marines.
Thank you. Anyone else? Would you like to read the names of the 2 that the two local gentlemen.
Do I have them right here?
Commander, want to just read their names from the,
I got it.
We actually have David L. McDowell, 1st Platoon C Company, 2nd Ranger Battalion. I know he's from Julian, and his family is still up here, and we invited him, but he did not make it.
and the other one?
That's Captain Ronald George Luce Jr. He was from Julian. As a matter of fact, there's an individual in our post right now that played ball with this young man, and he lived up here in Julian for some time, and his family lives in Arlington, Virginia, as far as I know.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So,
Thank you.
and I think his mile marker is in Illinois, and the other young man is in Kansas. So those names will be read off then.
I'd like to say my son's name. A1C Alfred Comliff, that I lost 21 months ago.
Augie?
Like to mention our son's name, Justin Robert Martoni, died in Iraq. He's a gunny sergeant Marine in 2006.
If we could, yes, sir, go ahead.
I'd like to read the name of Richard Budd, Vietnam POW, member of our post, died 2 months ago.
Sorry. Thank you. Anyone else? What we do at this point is we're just going to have a moment of silence. And we're just going to just quietly reflect for a few seconds on the names that we read, the names that were spoken, and the names to come. Because we've only read about 500, probably, of the 20,000 that are along our journey. So if we could just have a moment of silence. Amen.
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 Thank you all for,
Please let me say my words.
only if you got one, no.
Please. They will mean something to me.
Yes. I can't thank you enough, Commander. I know this is kind of an emotional moment, and it really needs to be,
For a good reason.
because the impact of what this is no small thing. And the impact that these lives made on our nation and on each of us is no small thing. And so, again, we thank you. There's really no more to this. The only thing I can say is, it takes resources for us to make this happen. You guys know that. You are a resource for us tonight that saved us a tremendous amount of dollars. We don't have that kind of resource as we go forward. We have some stuff up here if you have any interest at all, no obligation. We have that poster, we have shirts. This is the worst part of my day, is even having to say that we've got to get to the next town. But if anyone knows of anyone, your friends across the country, or you just want to pick something up to help, or just drop $1 in the jar, it would be a tremendous help for us as we go forward. So thank you guys. God bless you. And you mean the world to us. Dismissed. I know. That's fine.
I know.
It's so weird that I'm talking to you about that and you guys are saying and then you guys are great. Definitely there's guys that have pretty much the same story.
It doesn't get easier. I've done this before. It doesn't
No. Yes. Yeah. I have it on everything.
Hey guys. I don't know if you guys